Um, Good afternoon, everyone. This is Bob Ost. Happy Thanksgiving, belated Thanksgiving, and I guess happy Black Friday to all of those of you who are actually in a financial position during COVID to be able to take advantage of all these things that are for sale. I must have gotten 100 emails telling me that today was the day to get all sorts of incredible bargains. But of course, the best bargain of all is coming to TRU every Friday at 4:30, um, pretty much for free, although we do ask you to actually contribute something if you possibly can, just to keep us going during COVID. So this is our Friday community gathering. Um, and as I've said week after week, and I'll say it again, we do this to basically help people feel less isolated. So we have a community of artists and producers who actually can come into a room, a Zoom room, be that what it may. It's not live, but come into a room at least and meet each other and talk about what you're up to and what you're doing. I think it's healthy, I think it's productive, and I think hopefully it's inspiring people to keep busy. This is a pandemic. We thought it would probably be over by now, um, but it's not. It's actually at its height right now. So we have to continue to be realistic, and we have to also continue to understand the value of delayed gratification, not trying to rush things so that we can have joy and community and whatever it is that we really want now. Just hold off, be strong, and wait until things get better. They will be better in a couple months or in a year. I don't know what it's going to be at this point, but hopefully it'll be hopefully it'll be by late spring, early summer. So that's why we're here. We're here to gather and talk about what we're doing and what we're up to and how to continue to be creative during COVID. And I'm very honored to have a woman guest today, Anita Durst. I've known Anita and I've known what she's been doing for a long time. It's got to be at least 25 years. I don't know how long Shashama's been around. And even early on in the early days of TRU, Shashama and Anita were welcome guests to talk to my community of artists. Um, what she does is pretty special. I don't think anyone quite does what she does. And I'm going to ask her to come on in and introduce herself and talk a little bit about the history of Shashama and who you are and where you come from. So start off with us with that, okay, Anita? It's pretty broad questions.
Sure. How long would you like me to take about?
Oh, I don't know. It's to 10, 15 minutes, as long as you want to take.
Wow, that's a long time.
I
Okay,
mean, I can jump in and ask you questions as questions come up. And
sure.
also a reminder to the room, if you open up your participants field, uh, you'll see at the bottom, I think it's the bottom left, a hand raise, a virtual hand raise. We encourage you to make this interactive. I want you to talk to us. I want you to bring up anything that's a question while we're having our conversation, and um, let us know what you're thinking as we're talking. Okay, it's not just a conversation between Anita and me. It's a conversation between Anita, myself, and the rest of you. So join us. And Anita, so tell us a little bit first about yourself, and then we'll move to Shashama and how that became what it is today and what it was 25 years ago. It's just an amazing organization.
Thank you. I appreciate it. What a lovely beginning. So I started with theater with Reza Abdo. I started Chashama in his memory. The first play I did with him was in the meatpacking district. I was Marilyn Monroe. There's a 125-foot long dinner table. There was JFK. We did it on 3 different streets, a meat locker. There's a cast of 60 and a band that would follow us around. Reza was very successful in theater in Europe and not as successful in New York, but we made all our plays here in LA, and then we would travel all over Europe. When he died, I started Chashama in his memory so other people could feel the power of creativity. My family is in real estate, So I asked my family to donate space to me, and they gave me a block on 42nd Street between Broadway and 6th. They ended up giving me about 7 locations for about 7 years. And with those 7 locations, we did about 700 shows probably in those first 5, whatever they were, 7, 8 years.
Well, Anita, were they all storefronts, or were some of them less apparent on the street? I remember chashama being something I could always find from the street.
They were all storefronts, and then there was studios in the back of them. So yes, they were mostly storefronts. Tony Casper and she was one of the first people that did something there in the very beginning. She did her play about strip dancing. So we gave it, I didn't know many artists, so anybody who asked me, I'd be like, here's a key, go do your theater. It was a really amazing, fun time. My family decided it was time for me to leave, so I started to ask other property owners to donate space to me. And since that time, we have worked with we've had over like 200 different locations throughout the city. Some of them we've had for over 20 years. We have one on 37th Street that we've had for the past 10 years. No, not 20 years, 10 years. And then we have about 60,000 square feet at the Brooklyn Army Terminal. We've been there about 15 years.
And basically, am I right in saying that people who use your space, the space is donated, so isn't it? So, or is there a cost for them?
So the space is donated. The space still has a cost because we have to pay insurance, electricity, maintenance, cleaning, garbage. So the spaces still have a cost, but the cost is not that much. So we give all of our presentation spaces for free, and our workspaces, we charge a very small rent. We have about 135 studio spaces, and then we do rehearsal spaces as well.
Have any of the artists that have performed in your spaces gone on to better known careers? Curious.
I'm really bad with names. I know Adam Rapp did a lot with us, and I know there's a long list of many other people, but
I'm under the impression that a lot of the New York community got their starts in chashama spaces.
Yes, a lot of artists have, and I'm not very good. So I believe right now, and I don't know if this is true, this is what they say, we have a live theater piece that just closed. And I think they said it was the only live theater that is happening in New York right now. It happened in storefronts throughout Manhattan and in Judson Church. It was a Beta Beth Theater Company, and it was really beautiful, very lovely. So with our spaces, right now, we're doing something called Enliven New York, where we currently have about 40 locations that are donated to us. 11 of them are presentation and workspace for artists. So we are about to take on another 20 new spaces before January. So what we're trying to do, because there's so many empty spaces in New York, we are trying to take on these empty spaces and then partner with other nonprofits and individuals for them to program these spaces and enliven them.
What kind of art, what kind of theater would work best in these kinds of spaces? I mean, we have two things going on right now. Basically, you've always done storefront theater. Now we have social distancing as well that has to be observed. So, give us, if we're a lot of us are artists. So, what kind of thing would we want to think about doing that would work in one of your spaces?
I've seen a lot of window performances. People do theater in window performances. So what they could do is they have the theater performance on the inside of the window, and then people stand out in the street, and you could do it live streaming. You could also do it through, I've seen people like have actual conversations with people as part of their shows to, engage them.
How did they get their voices from the glass window and out onto the street? Are the loudspeakers or something?
It depends how they want to do it. They can either do it through a live stream that goes directly to your phone, and then you can put it in your ears and it's direct that way, or they can do it with speakers. I've seen both ways. I've also seen radio stations, but I think that's a little antiquated and old. So now I think they would do it through the phones.
And are you getting a preponderance of solo performance right now, or are people finding ways to make art without breaking the social distance rules?
So yeah, we have a lot of people. We don't have as much theater applying to us as we do dance. We have a lot of dance applying to us, a lot of visual artists. I don't think, we used to do a lot of theater, but sorry, somebody called. With the new rules for theater, once we set up a theater in one of our spaces, the fire department came in right away and said we couldn't have a stage. So we stopped having stages in our spaces because it became an issue with the fire department.
Okay, I was wondering. Yeah, a lot of specifics are really helpful, I think, for people to sort of envision what they might be able to do and how they might be able to approach you and ask you. What is the process actually for asking you for space?
So if you go to our website at chashama.org, we have an open application where people can apply year-round. There is no cost for the application. We have a very nice performance space that we use. It's in the through block between the Bank of America Tower and the Condé Nast building in Times Square, where we have a undulating stage and we have a lighting system and we have speakers and projection. That we have had a lot of opera, theater, and dance there.
Is that Anita's Alley?
Yep.
Anita's Alley. My assistant Jay saw something there. He loved it. He was very excited to be able to actually see something. Just a couple of weeks ago, actually.
Yeah, we had a live opera there.
Yeah.
So what we're doing for right now, what we're gearing for is we're having markets in 7 of our locations because there's a lot of artists that really need money. So we're trying to help them to raise money by selling the things that they're making. So it's mostly like craft things like clothing and like stones that are carved, candles, like kind of Christmassy kind of things that are unique and unusual. And they're so we're having these little markets in many of our spaces.
Is it fair for me to assume that the window theater that is done are shorter pieces? What is the average length? What length works for this kind of street window theater? I don't know what else to call it. What do you call it?
I call it window performances.
Window performances, yeah. Okay.
I think it varies, and it depends on where you are and how you can set up the street. If you're able to put out seats on the sidewalk because there's enough room outside. If there's we just had somebody, Daryl Thorne, and he did a very beautiful performance with live painting. And we actually had to close it down because there was too many people watching it.
Oh.
So I think that what it's about is really is it's about the location, and is there room for people to stand outside right now? And so I think that is a big thing. I think that this is a good time to use our spaces as like a rehearsal space that's kind of live, where maybe you have a one-woman show and you'd want to come to our space and you'd want to be there for 3 weeks and you do it, because our spaces, you don't need to have a finished piece. It's about the artist, and it's about your work and your work growing. So we don't judge the work as long as you have motivation to do it, and you are filling the space, and you are creating something that's visual that people can see and understand. I think that's what's most important.
Well, let's think about this from a producer's point of view for a second, or a self-producer's point of view, which is probably more likely the case. What is the team that you need? You obviously need your performer or performers. You probably need somebody like somebody's a coordinator, the equivalent of a stage manager, wouldn't you? If I wanted to do this with.
In most of our spaces, it's just the artist. They don't have a team or anybody else there. They just organize it themselves.
But then don't they need somebody on the street to make sure that people are socially distancing, or just to coordinate?
We feel that the people on the street should be able to socially distance themselves and are aware of those things. And then if the artist sees that that's not happening, that we would hope they're smart enough to stop and slow down. So we really, that is our hope.
So this really is a one-person team. It's a majority of one. It's one person who's doing everything.
It depends. Like if you wanted to have more than one person in your production, you could. I feel like as long as you feel like the people you're with are within your bubble and you feel safe with them, it is okay.
So people come to you with a suggestion, or possibly a script, but just an idea of what they want to do. You review it, and then you give them a yes or a no. You say, do they get a choice of spaces? Do you tell them what the different spaces offer?
So when they apply online, they click off the spaces that they prefer. And it's mostly about us having the space available for them, and having, and their show fitting into the space. Sometimes the property owners are very specific about what they want in their space. We have a very lovely space that's on 266 West 37th Street that the property owner he allows us to do anything in there.
So there may actually be limitations in some of the spaces that you can let people know about. But I can't imagine anybody's doing anything so crazy that there would be a limitation. But who knows? So the first
most
thing
of our spaces are okay. It's just like a couple are like the ones we have in Madison Avenue. They don't want any. They want very specifically high art. We do have a residency program, and where we have bedrooms for 8 people to sleep, and like rehearsal rooms that we've been looking to fill. My dream was, right from April till October, we have a visual art residency program, but the rest of the year, we would like to fill that space with people to come up and to work on their scripts, and to utilize the space. It's in Pine Plains, New York. It's 2 hours north of New York City.
Okay, so let's see. So you actually have a residency for them in what's it? Pines Plains, New York?
Pine Plains, New York. It's like 20 minutes from Rhinebeck.
Okay, and is there a kitchen facility? Obviously, there must be facilities for them to actually be able to live there.
There are kitchens. Yes, there's one. There's several kitchens. There's many different bungalows and houses, and yes, there are kitchens that are very, very well stocked.
Anybody wants to get out of New York, and anybody here who wants to get out of New York and go someplace nice and have yourself your own little bed. It's individual bedrooms, I assume.
Yes, they're individual bedrooms. Mm-hmm.
Very, very cool. Very interesting.
Yeah, we have open space from now until February.
Okay. If anybody in the room, just approaching this as an artist, as somebody that might want to take advantage of any of these opportunities, what would you want to know? Is there something that I'm not asking that you would want to ask? Virtually raise your hand, or if you want to, you just turn on your audio and just ask us a question. There you go, Tina. Oh, RK.
Hi.
RK, then Tita.
Okay. Hi, Anita. I know that the Lower Manhattan Cultural Council also does similar programs where they will work with uh, real estate owners to fill up space. Do you work with them at all, or work with their organization in Governor's Island?
Over the years, I've met the many different directors of the LMCC, and each one I've worked with differently. Uh, I'm very bad with the current lady's name, whatever her name is. But we just did a program with her where they gave grants to artists, and then we gave them space. It was like a couple months before the pandemic. But yes, I have worked with them throughout the years. And we don't work with them in Governor's Island. We actually competed for that space with them many, many years ago.
Oh, aha.
Yes. Yes.
So let's go to Tita next. Tita?
I was curious about the business side. If an artist books you, what does either your real estate companies or other landlords want? Do they want liability, cleanup money, the risk of having a performer in there? Are they worried about it? What would we have to know from the business side of the landlord?
So what we do is we say we've done this for 25 years. We give them a $5 million general liability insurance policy. And we manage the space and the artist, and we leave it better than we found it. Yes.
Jenny Lynn?
Oh, yeah, I was just wondering, since there is a pandemic happening, if it goes beyond just live performance in these storefront spaces, if anything is being done with recording or live streaming.
I have opted not to do any live streaming. The only live streaming we do is we do a lot of outreach programs in the Bronx and in where we give free studios in exchange for workspace. And they're doing classes online. We work with a lot of homeless shelters and a lot of so that's the only live streaming that we've been doing is our outreach programming.
Ingrid?
Can we use this space for just a videotape a performance, a solo show performance? Is that?
Yes, we have space for that. We have like an office building right now that's about 20,000 square feet that people have been using for things like that people have been using for green screens and spaces like that. So yes, we do have space like that.
And how soon does one need to apply to get space? Like, do you need like 2 months in advance, or?
If you apply through our application, it will take a while, but I'll make a special permission for anybody that's on this call today that you just email me directly and then say that you are on this Zoom call, and I will fast line you through.
Anita, can I put your email in the chat?
Please, because I don't know how to do it. Thank you.
It's Anita
at Durst.
Durst family, right?
No, Durst.org. No family anymore. That guy.
Oh, okay.
Anita at Durst.org.
Okay.
Yeah. So anybody that's on here today, if they want a room up in the country or they want a filming space or a little rehearsal space, they should just email me and I will try to make it happen.
Great. Thank you.
Sure.
And are people monetizing these experiences?
No. All of our depends. Like the live theater, the Beta Beth Theater, they charged $80 a ticket, but they were using many different locations and they spent a lot of money and it was very beautiful. Some people will charge, but very few. Most of the things are free, but if you wanted to charge, we're not against it.
What would you say is the percentage of performances versus art presentations and dance?
It's about 40, 60. 60 is visual and 40 is performative.
Okay, performative meaning theater and dance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Opera, theater, performance art, anything that is performative.
But that's not necessarily a policy on your part. That's just what it's wound up being.
It's only because of what the fire department will not allow us to put stages in spaces.
So it's a window performance. There's no stage, but I mean, it's essentially you have a de facto proscenium to perform in. So it's kind of an interesting idea. There is also a maximum to the number of people that are going to be able to view it. So I would think that the smartest way of going about this would be to have a short piece and do repeated performances of it, do multiple performances. Does it ever happen that somebody starts their performance and waits until somebody notices in the street, and then once they have somebody eyes on them, they actually start going through the whole piece?
Of the theater performances that I've seen in the storefronts, it's been a while since I've seen one, but I think they just did what you said. They were shorter snippets, and then they would do them.
Just
repeat it over and over again. I've also seen a lot of interactive performance, which I have found very interesting. This girl would sit in our Times Square space at like 2 a.m. and just talk to people on the phone. She was like a therapist. But yeah, the interaction between you and the passerby is a very intimate and special thing to be able to do in New York Street, because there are so many passerby, especially in Anita's way.
The URL for Chashama for the application, is it Chashama? Is that where they apply?
Chashama.org.
Can you spell that?
I'm spelling it for you right now.
Thank you.
Any other questions or questions or ideas?
I have. So I've been working on a fire show. It has live music. It's called The Calling, and it's something that I've been working on for at least 15 years. So just thought since this is a theater community, I thought I'd tell you guys about it.
Absolutely.
Pretty cool. It's got amazing fire tricks, like the fire tornado and the horse, the heart of fire, and the horse and the motorcycle. It's pretty cool.
When you say fire show, do you mean actual fire or simulation?
Yeah, real fire. We were about to go and do a producer's whatever kind of showing right as the pandemic hit. We were about to open it up with our fire tricks. It has a whole script and I think like 11 original songs to it. So we're trying to do it at this place called The Space this summer on Ryder Farm. It has an outdoor venue where we can do it.
Have you looked into the insurance and legalities of having fire on stage?
Yeah, so Flambeau and we did it many years ago in Times Square without all of that, but now he is part of like the fire department and they work with us. So they came to the space that we were going to do it in, and they told us everything that we had to do to make the fire legal and approved by them.
It's not simple.
No, I know, but it's something that we're working on.
Bless your heart. Good luck with it. It's a lot of complicated paperwork to go through. Joe Nelms, do you have a question? Oh, well, Ingrid has a question, but let's bring Joe in first, and then we'll get back to Ingrid.
Hey, yeah, real quick. Are the spaces available to be used? Can we use them as promotion for another show, for a show we're doing elsewhere?
Yes, you can use them for promotion, but you have to enliven the window. It can't just be like posters. You need to have live action, because I think it's very important to engage the public in a way that's like sparks their imagination.
No, that's cool. That's a great opportunity. I love that.
Thank you.
Ingrid and then Murray. Ingrid?
Wondering if the spaces are all the same size, especially the spaces in New York City, they vary.
Anywhere from 300 square feet to about 10,000 square feet.
Okay. one other question. Are they, so audiences don't come inside the space. They're usually outside.
It depends. No, they can come inside the space.
Okay. They can.
We have a space at 7 East 14th Street, and we just had a gallery show there. It was someone had collected all this artwork from all these known artists, and then they were giving the money to undocumented immigrants who didn't get any money during the pandemic. And so you had people coming in. So yes, you can bring people into the space. We go by the COVID guidelines, and we say, I think we have like no more than 10 people in the space. But yes, you can have small audiences in the space.
Murray Davis. You're muted.
Hi, Anita. A question. When you mentioned Governor's Island, because I remember a number of years ago when I took a TEDx seminar, the people who were involved then, who were providing the content for Governor's Island, which was very clever in terms of they were giving space away for anybody to do anything. So there were things for people to do when they arrived. With that concept, have you ever gotten involved with any other parks outside? And whether it's, I don't know what it entails, Central or any of the parks around. Have you done anything with them? I have two questions. That's one.
Yes, we have. We used to work with Red Shade Plaza, which is right on the West Side Highway. So we've done stuff with them. We did stuff in Jamaica, Queens with their parks department. We worked there throughout the years. Oh, we did the New York City streets a couple years ago. You know, the one that the DOT does on down Park Avenue. I forget, it's the Summer Street or whatever it's called. Yeah, I can't remember what that one's called. But yeah, throughout the years, we've done things here and there.
Okay.
We've done stuff at 34th Street with the Fashion District.
That's great. Okay. And the other thing is the windows where you have live action. Where are they? Where are those things located?
Well, right now, all the live action things are going to be markets. But on 23rd Street. Oh, I don't know the exact address.
No, East West.
It's between 8th and 9th, I believe, on the downtown side of the street. 7 East 14th Street. We'll be having stuff there.
Wow.
37th Street. So if you look at our website, most of our spaces, it depends throughout the year what we'll be doing there for the things that are more live and engaging.
I will. And Bob, you asked about the space, West Bank Cafe, the Cabaret Club, Metropolitan Zoom was using that space for some of their performers where they were inside, and so they opened the two window doors. And
we had a panel about it.
Did we?
Yeah, we did. We actually had
Bernie.
My friend, what's her name? I'm blanking.
Bernie.
Well, yeah, we had Bernie, but we also, with Bernie, we had somebody who actually does the performance in the window of West Bank.
Yes, I know. I was there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Anita.
A property owner is donating a small little theater space to us. I think it used to be like a burlesque club. It's in Brownsville, New York. It's on East New York Street. We'll probably be opening that space in a couple of months, but it's a very cute black box little theater. And we're looking for theater companies that are out in Brownsville that would want to utilize it.
So no to the entire room. Anybody have any ideas? Send them to Anita.
Bob?
Yes.
Bob.
Who's that, Paul? I heard somebody say Bob. That would be me, I think. Okay, I'm not hearing. Whoever it is, we've lost. Joe, your hand is still up. Is that because I didn't lower it? Did you have anything else?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
Tita, did you have something?
I have a question. I'm intrigued by what you said about your fire show. And that made me wonder, what do you do in the arts other than set fires?
Oh, you mean for the calling? That's something I've been working on for a long time. I've just started making my reel again. I've started acting. So I am in a short film right now that we will be shooting in December. And then I've just started to do some, I just did like 3 shorts as well.
Thank you.
I have kind of a specific question for you because of what you do. How hard is it for you to negotiate with these spaces? Are you just, I mean, forgive me for saying it, but you're well connected in some ways. Is it that makes it possible, or can anybody go to spaces and try to negotiate a deal for like a site specific piece or something?
It is very difficult to get a space. Definitely, you know, having the connections I do help, but a lot of the spaces that I've gotten were not through my family, and they were through just my own drive, and we have a very good model and a system of how to do it. Property owners will not give you a space unless you have a very good insurance policy.
Well, not only insurance policy, but you have history of having done that. So I mean, you started off with the advantage of being able to use your family's resources, and then you established a certain knowledge of whoever's got noise going on in the background. Please mute yourself. So you established a certain facility with it, and that must have made it a little easier to approach everybody because they knew that you had experience doing it.
So we don't really approach people. People come to us and offer us spaces. I've had people call me up from,
just like the rest of us, sure.
from Rock Rose and say, "Would you like a city block?" And they gave us a city block in Queens.
I'm waiting for the day somebody comes to me and asks me if I'd like a city block.
It is a grand memory of mine. So we don't necessarily look, but now that the pandemic is here and we see such a great opportunity, we've made a business plan and some very detailed budgets, and we're doing a very strong fundraising plan. And that's why we're able to take on these new 20 spaces. We're taking on 7 now and then another 10 by January.
So in addition to actually people going online and applying to you, they can actually donate to Chashama, which is a 501c3, right?
Absolutely. Yes, they can absolutely donate to us. And yeah, so we've been able to raise some funds, which is really nice, with the Rockefeller Brothers Fund. We're working with the Small Business Bureau, and then, you know, with our individuals who are giving us funds as well. So I think something that's very interesting about Chashama is our gala. Our gala, there is no speeches, there's no sit-down dinner. We have over 200 performers at our gala last year, or the last time we had it. So you could walk into a room and a lady will be blindfolded and naked, and her room is called I Can't See You, but You Can See My Pussy, and she dances naked for like the whole night.
I can see where that could be an attraction.
Or you get your hair done by these beautiful ladies who go off of your essence, and she'll put like a rat trap in your hair, or a mobile, or a merry-go-round, or if you're bald, she'll like put like bubbly lights on you. And then there's Mr. and Mrs. Clown, who is always there. Or there's so many beautiful artists and performers at our gala, because I've been to so many, and I don't want to sit and listen, but so they're very experiential and very creative. And I think I'm very proud of them, actually. And I'm excited for our next one when we're able to do it.
Well, you know, you probably could do it virtually with breakout rooms.
No, I don't think you could do it virtually, because it's really, I believe it's like theater. You need to be there.
Wow.
You need to experience it. And you can't, the people, when they walk around these rooms, the smiles, the way they're like skipping and happy and joyful, they become like children because they have all this excitement and energy around them. It really transforms everybody there.
So you can't plan your next gala until you know when we're able to come out.
We're decided to do it in November 8th, or around November 8th. We're going to do it then.
Okay.
We hope. Yes, you're
Well,
right. We can't plan, but we are planning for that date right now.
Yeah. Jeffrey Lyle Siegel, you've been raising your hand for a while.
Yes, thank you. I have two questions. The first is, when you apply, is there a set time frame or limit to the number of nights or days you can use the space, or does that vary with the project?
We ask you to take the space on for at least 3 weeks. It is very difficult for us to program so many different artists in so many different spaces. So we do about 150 shows a year. So we prefer you to take it longer rather than shorter.
Right. The other question is, once we get out of this pandemic mess and we are allowed to have more normal audiences, is it your plan that these spaces will be able to accommodate more conventional performances with audiences in the spaces?
Yes, as long as there's not a stage because of the fire department and how they feel about stages, I think it would be great.
Great, thank you.
To utilize our spaces more for theater.
Thanks.
Okay, anybody in the, somebody, let's see, what was the question I saw before from Jane? I think we answered, how does one apply for residency and for how long? Well, no, we haven't really addressed that. How does one apply for residency and for how long? It's part of that's one of the options that's on your application packet on your website, I assume.
If they're looking for the residency in the country, they should just email me directly, and then I will interview them personally, and we will see if we're a good fit.
Okay. Anyone else in the room have questions or comments or ideas about things that you'd like to do now that you know this is available? Tita.
Got another one. Could a school, like I'm thinking of my friend who teaches music and opera singing in Astoria, could she book it for 3 weeks and bring in different classes to do their thing?
Yes, we've worked with many schools over the years. A lot of schools have done performances at Anita's Way. We have schools putting on gallery shows in our spaces. So yes, we absolutely enjoy working with schools. And in Astoria, Queens, I guess that's not close to Jamaica, but yes, we don't have many spaces in Astoria, but we could do something in Manhattan with them.
And one other question, how does the sound, you probably covered this, but I don't remember, how does the sound get out to the sidewalk?
It depends on how you'd like to do it. You could either do it by having people on their phone and listening through their phone, or you could have a speaker out into the street as long as it stays within the decimals of what's allowed.
That's right. You mentioned phones before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody mentioned possible Bluetooth speakers. If people have Bluetooth on their phone or if they have earbuds, I guess. So
most people have those things these days, yeah. Especially if you tell them to bring it.
Yeah. But there's a certain improvisational component of all this. I mean, people aren't necessarily going to plan to come to see this window. They happen to be walking by and they see this window. So
it depends.
So it can be promoted, actually. Then that's another thing we haven't really talked about. So basically, people could promote their work and say 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Pick your performance time and come join us.
Yes.
Okay, so that sounds like an interesting possibility as well.
Bob?
Yeah,
Bob?
Paul, you started to say something before.
I was just going to share that I have an experience doing a full-length play for 3 weeks in a storefront. It was in Atlanta, and it worked really well because we had, although it was a full production inside, there's a huge storefront window so the passers-by in the sidewalk could watch it, get intrigued, and buy tickets. So for the full run, it was sold out because of that. And it was, yeah.
So you were getting their attention on the street, but your end goal was to get them to buy a ticket and come into the theater.
The end goal was to engage the community of people who had never been in a theater before to get a sense of live theater. It happened to be my play, but yes.
And did you have a stage in this situation?
Yes, we also did have a stage within the
Okay.
theater in a full house. We seated about 88 people. Yes.
So Anita keeps reminding us that her spaces can't have
I realize
stages
that,
per se.
I realize that, and that's fine. That would
Yeah.
be fine.
How big was your cast, by the way?
We had eight actors. Plus, there was a scene where every night the theater had to put in fresh soil, fresh sod for my battlefield scene. We had walls that drip blood and everything. It was my first play that I wrote and that got produced. It was an interesting experience.
So Anita, you can look forward to putting sod into your windows at some point. Murray, come back.
I want to know, how does one get invited to the gala, and how many areas does it exist in? In other words, do you have all the different things in different boroughs, or all in the city, or what?
It takes place on 2 floors, usually, 2 floors of an office building is the way we've done it in the past. And we have about 50 different rooms, and each artist is in their own room and they create their own world. And we give them about a month to create their world inside their room.
Okay, and how does one get on the invite list?
So we have an artist thing that we send out for artists to apply. Mm-hmm. And then for people to be invited, it's on our website usually, and we send it out on our social media. And we send out invitations to be invited. If you email me, if you ask, I'll put you on the invitation list.
Okay.
What we wanted to do this year was have the gala, and then we had the after party, and then we had the next day, which was like a cheaper ticket for $25, which was like a kind of like a present to New York.
Okay.
What was the full ticket price?
600.
Okay.
The only other last question, though, if it's in November, how does the social distancing work with the people going in and out of rooms? How is it going to be monitored?
No, she's talking about next November, 2021.
Oh, 2021.
Yeah.
Oh, I was all excited. I was getting ready for the.
Yeah, I wish.
Oh God, Anita, it's the high point of my day.
I wish. Sorry,
Anita, we almost sold you a ticket today.
That's right. I was ready to buy. This opportunity.
Yeah, next year.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't feel that we could keep it safe enough right now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to invite everybody to come back into the room. You know, if we can still
I
have a
have
little
one
bit
more question. I got another question.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Just throw it out to the room because I can't do this, but it would be an incredible opportunity for someone who does social justice drama or works with a organization to have different people from the street or from the Innocence Project or anything, homeless, to come in and tell their stories and then go and someone else comes. Just throw that one out.
So basically you can apply with that idea.
Yeah, but I couldn't possibly produce it.
Well, you see, this is a situation where, well, I mean, Anita was saying before that it's usually a one-person situation, but that doesn't mean that it has to be a one-person situation. This could be a situation. You
invite one at a time in to tell their story, and then they go.
So you would be the curator rather than the artist. So
right.
So why not?
I'm trying to
unless Anita starts shaking her head no, I would say why not? I don't see it shaking, so you just came up with the idea, you go for it now.
I got to finish a play first.
Okay. So everybody, I want to thank Anita Durst for being with us today and sharing all this information about really kind of alternatives to what a lot of us are used to doing. It's very alternative. But it's very viable, and it's a very much a part of the New York theater scene, and has been for how many years? I said 25, but it's more than that.
You're right, 25, maybe 26, but yes, 25 is good.
Okay,
you're right on.
Yeah, 25 years of doing really wonderful, something really wonderful for the artists of New York. And I know you said this is a price tag attached. Can you give us an idea of just about how much it would cost for like a 3-week? You said a minimum of 3 week, a 3-week run for somebody.
Oh, it's free.
But you said that they have to pay for the. Oh, it's not free for you, but it's free for the people that. Oh
right.
well, I think we created a false impression that we need to clear up.
No, we take on the cost of the space and we give the artist to the presenting artist for free because we know that they have to pay for hanging the art or bringing it in and paying the actors or whatever it is. So we understand that presentations cost money, so we do not charge them unless you're going to keep the space for a year.
That's what I thought. And earlier when I asked that, I think we miscommunicated. And I thought, so they do have to pay something. So basically, the cost of their venue is covered. So which is usually about 30% or more of the average budget anyway. So it's it's a big savings for people. So thank you for doing that. So everybody, come join us, and basically we can go into breakout rooms so we can meet each other on a more personal level. And if you have any last minute questions, just raise your hand and let me know, and we can just ask Anita while we're making the transition. I want to remind you that we do take donations, and we offer all this for free, but something has to keep us running, and sometimes that's you, and very often it's you. So if it can be you, and it's not a burden for you right now during COVID, then go to TRU Online, truonline.org/make-a-donation. And Joe Nelms, if you're here, would you actually type the other URL in?
I'm doing it right now, Bob.
Okay, and Jay's doing that right now. So you can look in the chat and find the URL and help keep us going. We're actually going a lot longer than I thought we were going to be able to go, thanks to your support. So I have to express, in honor of Thanksgiving or any other day of the year, I have to express my thanks to all of you for your support. Thank you for being part of the TRU community. Join us next week. Jason Lewis from the Olney Theater Company. Aldi Theater Company is going to be talking about some of the things that they've done, including, if you read a Times article yesterday or today, they talked about really interesting things that have been done using the virtual format. And they talk about the humans, which is the piece that I keep telling you about. It truly was a somewhat innovative approach to virtual presentation, virtual performance. So he's going to talk about that, but he's going to talk about a lot more than that, because the Olney Theater is really very dedicated, very genuinely dedicated to diversity. And they're doing some interesting programs of theater festivals that really are looking at diversity. We are also hoping to be able to make our statement as well in our benefit in January. TRU Speaks. We're putting together an evening of short plays that deal with social issues, and I hope you'll join us for that, and more information coming about that. And I also want to remind you about Estella Scrooge, The Other Scrooge. It's a musical. It's a new musical that's been created by a producer from TRU, Michael Alden, and by a streamingmusicals.com, which is Tom Pullum, whom you've met in the room. And we're having a viewing party on December 18th, and you're all encouraged and invited to buy a ticket. TRU will benefit from that. So you don't have to go to truonline.org / all that. You can just buy a ticket for Estella Scrooge and you'll be helping us.